Fluto Shinzawa, of course, is around. He is the senior writer for The Athletic, and he joins us on the Volkswagen Dealers Expert Hotline. Fluto, hello, sir.
Good morning, Fred.
Hey, how you doing? It's good to hear you. All right, so Jeremy Swayman has been signed. The negotiation was contentious a little bit. What are your thoughts now that the deal is done?
A clear win for Jeremy to get that kind of contract without ever having been a regular season #1 goalie, and now you're the fourth highest active paid goalie in the league. That's tremendous. So congratulations to Jeremy for getting 8 times 8.25. He should feel awfully proud of that. He's got a lot of friends now in terms of the other goalies that will be in his cohort in terms of being restricted and coming up for new deals. They are all going to point to that deal and say, that's what I want. Please tell their agents, please go get that for me. So that has absolutely leveled up the goaltending market. And then for the Bruins, they get their guy in, and he doesn't miss any regular season games. Obviously, he missed all of camp, but so be it. He doesn't miss a single penny from his first paycheck. So wins all around for Jeremy and the Bruins.
Two things, Fluto. Number one, at the end of this, were they looking more at the dollar amount, or were they looking at a percentage of the salary cap that Swayman and his agent were going after? And also, what's your prediction on how ready he will be after missing camp and the preseason games?
Well, as for the second question, it's Jim Montgomery didn't put it out of the question in terms of whether Jeremy might be ready for tonight against Florida, which was kind of surprising. But that goes to show, again, I thought it was a very calculated and by design move by the coach, unprompted last Monday, to say more than a week out, saying, okay, Jonas Korpisalo is going to be the game one starter, even if Jeremy had signed that minute. So that was clearly a business move by the head coach. Obviously moved negotiations along. Very, very smart decision by the coach to send that message to an audience of one to Jeremy, saying, hey, there are consequences if you guys don't advance this negotiation along. So there's that. So in terms of, okay, he's been training at BU, elite program. I'm sure he was getting tons of action. That's not the NHL. Yep. So I think it's going to take a little bit of time for Jeremy to acclimate. He had one practice yesterday here in Fort Lauderdale. I would think he needs more reps. I have my doubts as to whether he'll be ready to play tonight, but he wants to play, obviously. I think it'll take time. As for the number that he ultimately got, I think the salary was important. I don't know if the player himself is looking at a cap percentage, but he had a number in mind. Perhaps it wasn't the number he really wanted, and he had to compromise too. That's just the fact and reality of a negotiation, that there has to be some kind of compromise. So he probably came down off his number. It's still a really good number.
Yeah. Fluto, I'm wondering, to get back to the negotiations, how this will help or hurt the Bruins in the future. Yes, they're willing to spend a lot of money for core pieces, but do you think other agents will try and take advantage of desperation? Do you think this helps them in relations to other teams in the next few years? How do you see this?
As for the immediate, it does not help them in terms of their cap situation. This is, I don't know by how much, but this is more than they had forecast to spend on the position. So what does that mean? Perhaps one of the examples, first and foremost, is Tyler Johnson. He played very well in camp. Versatile player, 3-position forward, experienced. And he's in limbo, no deal. He's not on the trip. So there's that. In terms of future negotiations, I don't know. I think this was a unique situation and unique to Jeremy, unique to the position. I think it will signal to players, though, that hey, we all heard the narrative that the Bruins were lowballing Jeremy, that they were not willing to pay him. I think this shows the opposite, that if they have an important player and they want you, they're going to pay you. So I think that's a good signal to players on the market. Now, how the agents for those prospective Bruins interpret that maybe they do see, oh, there's these guys are going to be signing the big paychecks. Maybe there's some of that, but that's the business. And the Bruins have always been a cap team in this era, and they will continue to be.
All right, we're talking to Fluto Shinzawa. He's down there in Florida for the opening night festivities. A lot of changes in the roster. What are we going to notice as this season gets going? Who are you keeping your eye on?
Well, I think in terms of identity and importance to the ultimate results, this is going to have to be driven by the defense, and this is going to be the strength of their team. Right now, it's going to be McAvoy and Lindholm as your number one pair. That's pretty good, and they're going to have to be more than pretty good. They're going to have to be great. I don't think Charlie was at that level last year. I don't think Hampus was at that level last year. They're going to have to elevate and bring their games back to the thresholds that we've seen before. And then you go down the line. That's a whole lot of beef, muscle, length, whatever it is. Zadorov, Lori, Brandon Carlo, Peak is a big man. So it's going to be, they're going to have to be stingy in front, and then they're going to have to activate in terms of going on the attack, because let's face it, they never replaced Jake DeBrusk as a number 2 right wing, just because, and they were correct. Their priority was center, and they had to pay to get Elias Lindholm, and that should be a good investment. You should have good chemistry, at least to start, with Zacha and Pastrnak. But after that, that's the consequences of paying Jeremy, of building on defense, of not really getting a Jake replacement. It drops off pretty significantly. So the offense will be tested. It's how long can Morgan Geekie handle himself at number 2 right wing? How much tread is left on the captain's tires? So it's going to have to be driven defense. There's going to be size, both up front and in the back end. That'll help. But the big question is, can they score?
Is that good enough to finish ahead of either Florida or Toronto? I was reading some predictions. Both of those teams are predicted to be top 5 points-wise in the league this year.
No, I don't think so. I think, Toronto, Florida, number 1. Either way, well, 1-2 in the division, Boston 3.
But maybe this team's built a little bit more for the playoffs with the size.
Oh, yeah. That's always critical. You talk to any coach, they would raise their hand. Give me the big man on D with the long stick and the muscle. We all seen how physical and demanding and no time and space in the playoffs to score. So absolutely, this should benefit them in the playoffs in terms of how they're designed.
Fluto, any issues with the hurricane and the game being played there tonight? I know it's mainly affecting the West Coast, but I mean the entire state is probably watching this thing and wondering how far inland or how far south it's going to be affected.
Yeah, everything you read is that the current path is north. Like Tampa is looking not so great, but down here in South Florida, especially on the other side of the state, it looks okay. It's funny, like people here, they're like, oh yeah, we're gonna get some rain, we're gonna get some wind. Here us New Englanders, we're like, oh, we're freaking out. Are we gonna be able to get out of here? Is my car gonna get flooded when I'm parked here? But everybody else, that's life here. So I hope. Hopefully the rest of the state gets good news. It doesn't look great right now, but as far as the game, green light right now.
All right. Well, safe travels, Fluto. Enjoy the game tonight, and hopefully you can get out there safe and sound. We appreciate the time as always.
Okay, guys. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Right. If you like that clip, check out more videos from Toucher and Hardy here. For more Bruins analysis and opinion, hit this playlist.